What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Seven Figure Photographer Live. I almost got tripped up on that, which is funny because I do that all the time. Anyway, welcome. Sorry, I know that was kind of awkward, but welcome. Today I have something exciting for you guys, and it kind of goes along with my announcement that I made not too long ago, but we're going to talk about it. Before we do that, like I said, we're going to talk today about maximizing your efficiency in your photography business. Now, I know this sounds super boring, like maybe not the exciting stuff that everybody talks about, like lighting and posing and all that stuff. Sounds super boring, but I'm going to give you a really simple way to analyze your business and make it more efficient so that you can make more money. That's coming up next. What's up, guys? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam Marvin, and I have been in the photography industry for 25 plus years. While I love being a creative, business is my passion, and elevating the industry of photography is my focus. I created the Seven Figure Photographer to share my journey to seven figures and to help others find their way too.
That's amazing.
All right, we got the mute button turned off, so you should hopefully be able to hear me. I'm not going to pull another idiot move like I did a couple weeks ago and forgot to turn my mute button off, and nobody could hear me throughout the whole live, and so they all just gave up. But for those of you who are new here, who've joined from, like, say, for instance, a text message or an email or whatnot, make sure that you go into the YouTube app to watch this, because then it allows you to comment on our chat. And we always love it when people who are hanging out with us comment and say hi, tell us where you're watching from or who you are, and it always makes it a little bit more fun for me. Also, I'm going to answer any questions that we have in the group chat as best as I can, but I've got a lot of information to share with you today. Now, like I said, we're going to talk about maximizing efficiency in your photography business, and I know that doesn't sound super exciting, but we're going to talk about 8 steps to analyze and elevate your business. And so just 8 actionable items, but I'm going to try to make this as simple as I can, which I think I've got it pretty dialed in on making this kind of a simple process. Now, there's a quote that one of my favorite authors, Mike Michalowicz, the book right back there, Fix This Next. It's not currently a book I'm reading. I've read it a long time ago. It's an amazing book. Everything Mike Michalowicz writes is amazing. But in this book, Fix This Next, there's a number of different quotes that I love. But this one is, the biggest problem business owners have is that they don't know what their biggest problem is. And that's by Mike Michalowicz. And I think it is so profound, because oftentimes we have no clue what our problem really is, because oftentimes what we think is the problem is not really the problem at hand. So why does efficiency in your business matter? Well, I think we all know the answer to that, but ultimately it's going to maximize your profitability. It's going to streamline your operations, so systems and automations and stuff like that. It's also going to enhance your customer satisfaction. When people feel like your efficiency is great, and they feel like you have a well-oiled machine that doesn't cause anxiety or issues for them, it makes everything better, and you have just an enhanced customer satisfaction. Also, it just helps you stay competitive. We're in a really competitive world, and especially in the photography industry, there's a lot of people out there that are, as creatives, we think that they're like encroaching on our territory, or that they're copying us, all these different things. And honestly, none of that really matters, because what's the quote? I don't even know who said this quote, but people say it all the time: to compare is to despair. That's like a rule to live by. So I want to share real quickly the 1% rule in business. Now, this is actually really intriguing, but the 1% rule in business is kind of built on the principle of, I'm just going to read this. So over time, the majority of rewards given in any field will accumulate to the people, the teams, and the organizations that maintain a 1% advantage over the alternatives. So you don't need to be twice as good to get twice the results. You just need to be slightly better than your competition or slightly better than the other options out there. And that's, I mean, when you think about it, that's not a lot. That's not a lot to do to be better than your competition, better than anybody out there. What I would love for you guys to do today is, hi Annie, not so scary, right? Welcome. So what I'd like you to do today is just grab like a piece of paper. Let me see if I have something to show as an example. Well, this was my example, but I wrote on it. Okay, grab a piece of paper for today because this is really important. You guys have all seen my customer journey. Well, hopefully you've all seen it. If you haven't, this is my customer journey worksheet or roadmap. And we're gonna kind of do something a lot like this today. So, but to start out, what I'd like you to do is just grab a sheet of paper, a blank sheet of paper, and I want you to grab a pen and I want you to write out 1 through 8 vertically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're gonna do basically the same concept as what we did with the customer journey, and we're going to use the smile, meh, and frown face, okay? So unfortunately, this time you guys got to draw them out on the paper, but I'm going to give you 8 different steps that you can judge yourself on, okay? So once we go through step number 1, we talk about it a little bit. You have the opportunity where you can draw a smiley face next to that one, you can draw a frowny face, or you can draw a meh face. It's hard to say meh on like while you're talking, but I want you to kind of consider those things in this. So keep in mind the smile, the meh, and the frowny face. Now, you're going to find there's probably a lot of frowny faces. And I tried to really kind of pack this down into 8. I really wanted to get it down to 5 steps or 6 steps because I know that when you have 8 steps, it's hard to remember, but hopefully you'll write these things down and you'll be able to keep them kind of on the forefront of like what you're doing with your business. So number 1 is the financial analysis. Now, I really tried hard to find this quote, and I want to say that it's in this book right here, but the thing, and this really stands very true, but the thing that you will find about many businesses is that all roads lead back to money. Not all, but most roads lead back to money. Oftentimes you'll find that a lot of the challenges in your business are really a result of the financials in your business. Okay. So sometimes like, for instance, with us, like sometimes it's like, I try to, when we were doing like the printing thing, you know, that was a challenge because some of the, like, it never failed that something would run out of product. And sometimes it was like just me forgetting to order it, or sometimes it was like I just paid stuff and things are thin, and so I'm going to wait a couple days to order it. But then it just slows down all the process. So what it really boils down to is it all comes back to the money. And so in your business, when you can do a financial analysis, and I'm going to give you like 4 things that I want you to consider in this, and you can really like ultimately just think in your mind, like, is the financial stability of my business, is it a smile, is it a frown, or is it a meh face? Okay. And I want you to just mark that down. So number 1, financial analysis, understand your profit margins. Like, what does your business typically run at? Most coaches, most people out there are going to teach you to run at an 80-20, which is an 80% margin, just because they want you to run all of your costs of doing business or cost of goods sold at 20%. And so that's not really your true margin. Your true margin is going to be based on after all the costs of your business. But when it really boils down to it, like a real good number is, and I'm not saying this is a good number for you to go for, but like a general idea is that when you look at your business, if you make $100,000 in a year, typically 50% of that is possibly going to at least be the revenue or the actual profit in the business. And when I say profit, that's not even true because that's not considering paying you. But 50% of that is not going to account for your overhead, your cost of doing business, your cost of goods sold, all those different things. So keep that in mind. I typically like to just look at it as a flat 50% because realistically, that's kind of what it boils down to. Calculate your return on investment. And what this really means is like, how much money are you putting into the business and how much money are you getting out? If you're at a negative, which can be pretty common for a lot of things, because like, look at those who are just starting out and they're dumping a bunch of money into it. Well, sometimes it takes a little bit more to get that money back. And sometimes people like us just have like me have a tendency to just keep dumping money into new business or business things. Like for instance, this is one thing that plagued me for a long time is that I was like, well, if I could just buy, a new printer, then I could print my own stuff and it would save me a little bit of money there. And it just ends up being like, yeah, as long as you're doing it calculated and you have a good return on investment and you understand what your return on investment is, that's a good thing to know. So that's kind of part of your financial analysis. Now, what's your liquidity? What's your assets and liquidity? If everything were to go belly up today, what equipment do you have that's worth any money? What inventories do you have? That's not as much, but there's, that's just something to keep in mind. Now, looking through, ultimately, what you want to determine is at the end of the year, are there issues? Well, not even at the end of the year, but are there issues in your business where you're oftentimes saying, well, as soon as I have some more money, I can do that. Or if you live by the concept, and guys, I'm not going to lie, I do this too sometimes. If you live by this concept of, I need to make the next sale to pay for the last thing that was just purchased, then that's probably a good spot for that yellow sticker or the meh face or the frowny face. Okay. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay. So let's move on to our next one. So number 2 is your operational analysis. So we have financial analysis is number 1. Number 2 is operational analysis. This is all of your doings in the operations of things. Do you have a good system for your sessions? Do you have a good system for your editing processes, your workflows, all those things? Are your processes streamlined and moving through well? Or could they use some improvement? So that's just one of those things to consider in that situation. We have really good processes for a lot of things, but then there's little dumb things that just people don't adhere to processes. For instance, one of the processes that we have is, to throw myself under the bus. At the end of the day, when I'm done with a shoot, I have to take the card to Michelle's desk and I have to put it in a little envelope. And on the envelope, I'm going to write the person's name. And I 3D designed a little tray that says, maybe she's on here and she can tell me what it says because I can't remember, but ready, envelopes, and then done. And basically, I write it on there and I put it in the little ready slot. That means that it's a new shoot. It's got the name on it. She's got to edit, put that into the process. Now, if I've just done a shoot and I get out of my car and I leave the camera in the car and leave the card in there, it breaks the process or it slows the process down. If I put that card in there and she hasn't touched it for 3 or 4 days, there's literally one sitting in there that's been in there for months. Now, mind you, the reason is because it's not important stuff. It's not money-making stuff. It's literally just fun pictures, but it's sitting there. Why she hasn't put it on the computer just to free the card blows my mind. But there's a lot of issues that I have that are little simple things that break the process, right? When you can create these processes that fix those issues, it makes the world so much better. It makes your business so much better. So look at your operational analysis and determine, are you doing well there or are you sucking it up? And all this is doing is just giving us an idea of where we can make improvements in our business. Okay, let's move on to number 3. I hope I threw myself under the bus enough there that I'm not going to get in trouble when I get home. Number 3 is sales and marketing efficiency. Okay, what is like, you need to determine like your acquisition cost, or sorry, customer acquisition cost. So it's your CAC. Annie will love that one. You need to determine what your CAC is. Okay, your CAC is what does it cost you to acquire a client. Now, this is going to be different for new clients versus like retention or retaining clients. If you have clients that are, I knew that was going to make her laugh. If you have clients that are return customers and you're really not having to do anything to acquire them other than maybe take a minute to send them a message or call them, those kinds of things, those are great clients. They typically are the best clients we could put our time and energy into because we don't have to pay again to get the new clients. In the senior world, it's kind of a nightmare because we're trying to acquire new clients every year. And so what is your client acquisition cost? How much does it cost to get a client? And if you understand that number, it's going to help you significantly in your business. Now, also the customer lifetime value. If you understand that a customer, we talked about this the other day, and I think that we determined in our business that it's right around $16,000 to $20,000. That's 2 senior sessions and potentially 2 family sessions and maybe a headshot session out of all that. Ultimately, like that's kind of on an average. So our CLV, or customer lifetime value, is kind of determined on that estimate. And you also have to look at it in a consideration for, okay, how many of my customers really do come back, and how many of them, like, this is where that whole Pareto principle falls into line. Typically, only 20% of your customers are going to come back. And those 20% are typically the best ones that you can pay your attention to. That's the whole pumpkin plan thing that we've talked about before. So, and then monitor your conversion rates. This one is huge because you can really kind of set yourself up well when you understand this. If you know that your conversion rate is 50%, that means that every lead that comes through your door or comes through on the internet, you're closing 1 out of every 2 of those. Then you know that like you can build everything backwards. If you look at your business and you say, well, I want to make $100,000. I typically average $2,000 per senior. That means I need to shoot at least 50,000 seniors to generate $100,000 in sales. Okay, that's just $100,000 in sales so that you can make $50,000 in your pocket. So again, we're just kind of working on averages here. But when you understand that, and you understand that you typically close 50% of your conversion rate is typically 50%, then you understand that, okay, well, I just need to get 100 leads then. Because if I can get 100 leads and I close 50% of them and I average $2,000 per client, my numbers are made. So what does it take to increase it by just a little bit? Maybe get 110 leads so that you can get 55 out the door and make $110,000. Okay? So just understand your conversion rates. Like I think currently on my Leads Pro account, it shows my conversion rate is about 70%, which is actually really good. I'd like it to be around 80%. But when you understand those things, you understand how to work backwards to make your business go forward. All too often, we judge our business by, we get to the end of the year or January 1 and we look at our taxes and we're like, okay, well, I did, $3,000 more this year than I did last year. But you can't do anything to change it. Whereas when you can look at it as, okay, I need to acquire 110 leads this year. Let's go for 120, just because it's going to make the math easier on my brain. So I need to acquire 120 leads this year. That's 10 leads a month for 12 months, right? So when you break it down, that's 2 leads a week. Sorry. No, that's 2.5 leads a week to hit your 10. So 3 leads a week And if you really boil that down, like you can go lower and just really figure it out. So then when you create why can I not think of the word? Annie, help me out here. Your card that we have on Google Sheets, that's your scorecard. That's what I was looking for. So when you have on your scorecard and you know, okay, well, last week I only did, one lead, but I need to have 3. So I really need to step up my game for next week. And I really need to, it gives you a chance to really kind of pay attention to what's going on in your business, start to like every week. The last part of sales and marketing efficiency. Now, guys, I'm not talking about like how well you sell. Obviously, that kind of comes down to your lifetime value and your conversion rates and all that stuff. This is just really about like how well are you bringing the business in, okay? So the length of the sales cycle. Assess the length of the sales cycle. What that means is from day 1 that your customer or potential lead like first becomes in your knowledge. And when I say lead, it's name, phone number, and email address. They've come into your business, your Leads Pro account, your 17 Hatch, your Pixify, your Tave, whatever it is, it's come into your CRM from day 1 till the day that they have you hung pictures on their wall. Okay? Determine what is that sales cycle. You can go shorter and you can say from the day that we start to the day that we actually get money. I would go to the day that you've completed and finished the order. The shorter you can make that, the better your clients are going to appreciate you. And that's, again, just one of those things that you can really track well to understand. Okay, number 3, sales and marketing efficiency. I want you to take a sticker and I want you to put a sticker on there. Is it a smiley face draw a circle? Is it a smiley face? Is it a frowny face? Or is it a meh face? Okay. Next, we're going to talk about productivity. Guys, I struggle with this one. I've even considered, I started taking medication last year to try to just keep my head straight. I'm terrible, guys. Like, I'll sit down at my computer and start working on things. Like yesterday, I was working on something. I was doing some educational stuff. And in the middle of the educational stuff, I was like, oh, that's a genius idea. I should figure out a way to automate the tracking of, just to be honest, of what it was automating the tracking of scraping Facebook, the group, for the emails. Not scraping them, but like when you guys come into the group, you enter an email address, and by doing so, you're doing it because you're agreeing to give it to me so that I can market things to you or send things to you that I think are valuable. And so what I want it to do is just to grab that email address as it comes in and grab the answers to the questions and figure out, like, so that I understand how to communicate with my clients, right? So in the middle of this training, I get diverted into trying to build a new automation. And partway through that, I realized, oh my gosh, I forgot to finish the audit for my employee workers' comp insurance. And so I got stuck. That was my my productivity yesterday. It was a nightmare, and that happens all the time. And so figuring out ways that you can be more productive is vital in your business. And that's one of those that, like, I would probably have to put a red frowny face on mine. Now, guys, something to keep in mind. If you're like, I'm not really sure, do I need a smiley face? Do I need a meh face? Do I need a frowny face? Consider this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being your smiley or the best, 1 being your frown, like, how does it rate there? And you can do it like 1 to 3 is a frowny face, 4 to 7 is a meh face, and 8 to 10 is a smiley face. So, okay, so identify the things you love and the things you hate. This is a really good practice because when you can identify the things that you hate, those are the things you can learn to delegate. You can get a virtual assistant to do them, or you can automate them. Okay? Now, most of us here, we're working just as a one-person show. And so virtual assistant or automation is going to be key in that productivity. Now, I automate a lot of stuff that I do because I, A, don't want to spend the extra money, and B, like I've just figured out how to automate most of those things under programs that I already have. So measure the output hours you've worked versus hours producing. Now, this is a fun activity. Like if you go get a stopwatch, in a traditional 8-hour day, I want you to just take the stopwatch and click it when you're actually working. Okay? When you get up from your desk and you go get a Diet Coke or you go to the bathroom, click it off. If you start getting onto Facebook and flipping through things on Facebook, click it off. And you're going to find, like, on average, this is a scary number, but on average, they did this this test with a bunch of people, and I think somebody followed them around and clicked the button to determine. And they determined that in an 8-hour day, most people were only working 45 minutes. It was 16 or 45 minutes. I can't remember exactly which one. That's unbelievable. So take that stopwatch and determine how many hours have you worked and how many hours are you producing? Like, are you productive? And he says, I hate that stopwatch. Now, this comes from a lot of different things. Number one, like, I'm sure you've all had that experience where you're like, oh my gosh, like, I love being so busy. I'm so busy with my business. I'm so proud of it. And then you realize that I just spent all day chasing all these stupid things, and I really didn't accomplish anything productive in my business. That's a bad sign. I have that happen like all the time. Like I'll work hard all day long, putting in lots of hours, lots of effort to find out that I really hadn't accomplished much for the day. Okay? And I told you why, because I get stuck in stupid things. Invest in continuous training and development. Like, how much are you doing that for your business? I think it's a vital part of business and productivity, learning different things, like learning how to have a better workflow, learning how to analyze your business for efficiency, or to analyze your customer journey and to determine or how to make those things better. And we're going to talk more about it here coming up. But productivity, go ahead and make sure you put a smiley face, a meh face, or a frowny face on that one. Next is, this one's going to throw a lot of people, but technology and automation. We kind of talked about it a little bit before, but like, what kind of technology are you using? And what kind of automation do you have? Many of you, in fact, I would venture to say that the majority of you have automated or created some sort of automated booking process, allowing customers to get on and schedule their own appointments, like book and pay for sessions, schedule phone calls, all that kind of stuff. Make sure that those things integrate seamlessly with your system so that you don't have situations where you're like getting something that comes in and you're like, I don't even know what that's from. Like, make sure that those things all work well together. Identify the tasks that you have that could be automated. Okay, the other day I was working with one of my clients, and the comment was, well, it's hard because I don't want to get on and enter the information, the lead, into my CRM. And so what we did was we just made a quick, easy automation. And one of these days I'll do this and show you guys. Everybody has, like, almost everybody has a Google account. And on your phone, like your Google phone or your iPhone or whatever phone it is, in your contacts, there's typically a like a Google contact list. And if there's not, go create a free Google Gmail account, create the contact list in there. And whenever you put stuff in your phone, like a contact in your phone, you could add it to a specific list and it would automate taking that into your CRM. If you guys have questions on how to do this, ask me and maybe I'll make a video for you. But make little tasks automated. Like, figure out ways to make those little things that drive you nuts work better, faster, and more efficiently. And question, like, how much of your business is set up for automation? And then monitor and reduce system downtimes. Like, what are the things, like, for instance, one of the biggest challenges that we've faced in forever is customer, like when leads come in, how fast we communicate or contact with them. Guys, a lot of this comes from me. Like I've for years had anxiety about calling people back because it was like one of those things where I was so afraid that if I called them and I wasn't properly on my game, that maybe I would not catch or win that lead. And so I would kind of put it off until it was just so long that it was like stupid and they probably have already called somebody else. And so maybe sometimes I don't even call them. I would get in my head thinking, oh, I'm going to be too expensive for this person anyway. So I would put it off until pretty much like I just didn't communicate with that person. So what can you do to automate those systems to make it better? There's a lot of systems out there, like Leads Pro has missed call text back. So like if somebody calls your phone number and a lead, you can automatically text that person back with whatever message you want. And when they reply, you can reply right through your text messages. So there's things like that. You can set up lots of different things. Most places have like a missed call text back or automatic replies, autoresponders through your message system, just setting up an automation. And then, so I think I got off track there a little bit, but keep in mind, like I was just talking about downtimes, like where are the parts in your business where it slows things down? Where are the parts that there's downtimes because the system isn't properly automated through those, or you don't have a good system to work through those processes? So that was number 5, which was technology and automation. I know that's one that's going to scare a few people, but it's not as bad as you think, and it's actually a lot easier than you think. But it's just one of those things you have to not be afraid of it, and you just have to jump in and try it. So number 5, technology and automation. Put a smile, a meh face, or a frowny face next to that. Now, number 6 is quality control. This is actually a really simple one, and I fail at this a lot. I struggle because I don't take the time to double check people's work. I'll let things go. For instance, like my social media, and it's not that it was bad, but what happened is like when you let things go and you don't put your own touch in it or make sure, then sometimes you just don't know what's going on. And so then therefore you don't correct things, or then people ask you questions and you don't know what to say because you're like, oh, I didn't know about that. Like, so it's not all bad things, but it's not necessarily good things. Like I became really disconnected from my social media because Mia was so good at doing all of it that I didn't have to do a lot of it. But I had a lot of people that were saying, hey, like we miss seeing you, like that kind of stuff. Same thing with the quality of product. Like, do you check your product when it comes in from the lab and make sure that it's a quality that you would want to release to your clients? That could be editing quality. It could be production quality. It could be defects, or those kinds of things. Like those are all important, and they're going to help your business in ways that you may not know. Joy Verts actually had, she struggled with this to where they were constantly redoing things, for their business as far as printing stuff, and it becomes very expensive. Michelle has struggled on a lot of things just in naming, or templates where, because we send out a proof for the album, to where the customer gets to approve, it doesn't allow her to proof the spine. And so oftentimes that'll miss a spelling, and that it costs us a whole new album. And so there's a lot of different things that you can quality control. I don't ever quality control that. I could probably save myself a lot of money if I just took and implemented a process where after she approved it with the client, then I went in and approved it. Or we put in a second, it's happened more than one time there, lady. We put in a second thing. So, and it's not like it's her fault. They're very simple. There's reasons. The year of the Britneys was a huge thing for us with albums, because there were so many different ways to spell Britney. And that's why having a system where your client fills out the form, say for instance, a survey, and it corrects their name and information so that across your system, everybody has access to the proper spelling of their name so nobody makes you look like a fool. Because that, to me, that's one of those things that's really important is people's names. And then maintain adherence to set quality processes. Like, so set up a quality control process and keep to it. I just told you guys, like, I suck at that, but that's one of those things that I wanted to cover today. So on number 6, quality control, make sure that you put your little smiley face, your frowny face, or your meh face. Now, number 7 is the customer satisfaction and retention. Now, this is actually a huge one because ultimately it saves you so much money. And this is honestly one of those places that you could become so much more efficient in your business with a simple 1-question survey. Okay. If you've never heard of the Net Promoter Score, it's called an NPS number. It's actually a really powerful system. And I'll just give you kind of a quick rundown on what it is. I'll probably do a whole live about the NPS and how you can implement it in your business. But just to give you kind of a quick rundown, it's a survey that you send out to all your customers at the end of their experience. So when they're done, quality product is in the home, and you send them a quick survey that asks 2 questions, basically. 1 question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you be to recommend our products and services to a friend or colleague of your own? Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, the responses are where it's important, but the second part of that question is having an open-ended question after that primary question to gather feedback on the reason for their score. So, number 9, let's go fishing. So if your score is a 9 or a 10, that means that client is a promoter of you. They would absolutely promote you in their business. If the score is 7 to 8, they're passives, and that means they're satisfied customers, but not necessarily loyal. And then let's see, 0 through 6, these are customers that are not satisfied with your product or service and could potentially harm your brand through negative word of mouth. Now, the reason this is so important is because it sucks. Nobody wants to hear the information unless it's all 10s, but it's a really good way and a simple survey to send out to your clients and to find out what are the things that you're struggling in. Where could you do better? But ultimately, if you are consistently getting 6s, what could you do to change it by a little bit? Just 1%. What could you do to increase that quality? And if you're listening to your clients, you're making sure they're satisfied, you're going to have better retention. And that's another important thing. Track your retention rates. Like, what percentage of your customers come back year over year? And that's a really easy thing to determine. Like, look through your business every year and just like tag your clients. Like, is this a returning client, or is it like, what percentage of your clients are returning clients? Okay. So that's a good, like, and typically I bet you'll find that it's like same thing, the Pareto principle, 80-20% of your clients are your return clients. And if you're not even getting that, then that's rough. Like, you got to do better than that. And then just make sure to act on the customer feedback. Make sure that you're replying to those things or being gracious and appreciative for them sharing that information, and how you hope that they'll give you another chance to do better, and you appreciate the information that was brought to your attention because it will help you serve your other clients better, and then really commit to making those changes. But it's a good thing to know, just to have that information so that you can actually better your business. So customer satisfaction and retention, honestly, just kind of by the NPS. Make sure to put a smiley face, a meh face, or a frowny face. Guys, if you're just coming in and you're not sure what's going on, watch this again because there's a lot of great information here. At least I think so. Number 8 is innovation and adaptability. This is the last one. If you've been around me for any amount of time, you've heard me say innovate or die. And this was something that I really applied into my life years ago, and it's something that has terrified me for years because I'm always afraid that I will get stuck in a rut, and I won't innovate or adapt to new trends. Now, when it comes to photography, I'm really against adapting to the trends as far as like making your style change with every new trend. However, like it does have some valor, like it does, but I'm a real proponent of sticking to your style. So make sure to kind of stick to that. But invest in research and development. Sometimes that's as simple as taking some of your best clients or even some of your worst clients out to lunch. I took one of my clients out to lunch actually out to coffee the other day. And we sat down and we talked about a lot of things. And honestly, I just asked a couple of questions and I learned a lot of things that were really valuable for me. And so those are good things to learn, but also just to kind of look at what is the industry standard. PPA used to have a benchmark survey that kind of gave you an idea of where photographers should be at working from home versus working from a studio. I think the last one they did was in 2013, but you could go check it out and see kind of the guess the changes in that over the years. Stay updated on industry trends. That can be things that are not necessarily going to change your style too. So industry trends can be the clothing. Like right now is a big thing with, high-waisted jeans and all those different things. And so kind of staying up with those trends is valuable for that. And then adapt quickly to market changes. When the market changes, you have to adapt. Right now, we're seeing a huge change in editing going to AI. That kind of completely decimates one of our businesses, which is kind of like one of those things that we're trying to figure out, okay, do we kind of cut our losses and start researching AI and just kind of, but then there's always going to be people out there that are not willing to learn it and to run that process. And so is there some viability in being able to offer that service for clients to where we're taking their images and we're kind of running through that process for them? So understand that the market is going to change. No matter how much you think it's the same, it's going to change year over year. And sometimes it changes incredibly rapidly. And so you have to be able to adapt to those things. I would honestly say that I might be a meh face on this one. So make sure that you go in there once you've written that down, that you go in and you put your smiley face, your serious face, and your frowny face. Real quickly, I'm going to hit all the numbers just in case you didn't write them down. So number 1 was financial analysis. Number 2 was operational analysis. Number 3 is sales and marketing efficiency. Number 4 is productivity. Number 5 is technology and automation. Number 6 is quality control. Number 7 is customer satisfaction and retention. And number 8 is innovation and adaptability. Okay? Now that you have all of these things on there, honestly, like if you just applied a median number, so let's just say a 3 to a frowny face and a 6 to a meh face and a 10 to a smile, and you added all those numbers up and divided them by 8, that's going to give you kind of like a good idea of where your business is running at percentage wise. Maybe you're at like a 65% and you could increase or better it by 5%. And that 5% is going to equate to a lot of things. If you're making $100,000 a year in gross sales, 5% is going to be $105,000. If you're making $200,000, that's going to be $110,000. So imagine what you can do with a little percentage. Now, I want to tell you a quick story before I'm done here. And well, I guess it's not really a story. It's kind of a little insight to a story. It's about the British cyclists in the last while. We just had the Tour de France, which I think just got over not too long ago. We actually had one of our Boise guys in there, and he did really well considering. And so this is kind of an interesting concept. But Dave Brailsford was hired in 2003 to be the performance director. What is the performance director? for the cyclist team. Now, Britain's cyclists, their professional cyclists, suffered 100 years of mediocrity, meaning since 1908, their British riders had only acquired one gold medal in the Olympic Games in the last 100 years. And in 110 years, they hadn't won the Tour de France. It was so bad that top bike manufacturers wouldn't even sell them bikes because they were so bad they didn't want it to affect their brand recognition. So, basically what Dave Brailsford did is he came in and he started making incremental changes. And he refers to it as the principle of the aggregation of marginal gains, adjusting things by 1%. Now, it's really what made him different and helped them move their business forward. So to give you some ideas of some of the little things that they did is like they made small adjustments that you'd probably expect that any team would make, but a lot of teams might ignore. They redesigned the bike seats to make them more comfortable. They rubbed alcohol on the tires for a better grip. They asked riders to wear electrically heated shorts to keep their muscles at the optimal temperature for high performance. They hired doctors to teach them how to wash their hands better so that they would get less colds or less sickness on their team. They hired like sleep specialists to teach them what pillows and what mattresses were better to get a better night's sleep. There's all these different things. And one of them also was they actually found the best fabric that they could put through a wind tunnel and get the least amount of friction on their race suits. And so like they did all these different things and it took about 5 years, but Brailsford and his team continued to find 1% improvements that basically helped propel their team forward. And they were actually able to, I think they set a world record for the Olympic Games in, I can't remember which year it was, for acquiring the most gold medals in cycling. So the concept here, and what I want you guys to take from this is if you can look at all these different areas and you can see first, okay, I need some help in this area. What's one thing that I could do that could potentially change it 1%? Like, what's one thing I could do that would make it a little bit better? And start looking at these things. Did you know that if you could improve yourself 1% or improve your business 1% every day, that's taking little things like, for instance, if you write the same freaking email every day in response to clients and you create a email template that's automated to those clients, that's honestly as good as a 1% increase, I would think. So look at those little incremental changes that you can make in your life and in your business that are going to help your business grow a little bit every day. And I'm going to close this up now, but when you can really harness the efficiency for growth in your business by changing these little things or identifying where the struggles are in your business. And the other thing is that when you do find these struggles, like if you know that your production struggles, why? Look at it, why? Like keep asking the question, why? Well, why does it struggle? Why do you have ADHD? Why haven't you taken care of your ADHD? Ask all the questions and determine, sometimes those things are going to lead back to other things and you can adjust those other things and it might actually have the domino effect and create huge changes. So embrace continuous improvement and just kind of align your strategy with your creative vision, but really focus on those frowny face and the May face. Obviously, don't let your smiley faces go, but focus on those little things and focus on creating little incremental changes in your business that will help you propel forward. Because honestly, guys, if you can change your business, if you can make 1% changes in your business, it's literally going to make you more money. 5%, potentially 5% more. Okay? That's not a guarantee. That's just like, obviously, some of those 1% aren't going to equate to money in the right now. Maybe they do in the long run. So let's focus on this. I would love for you guys I would love to see like what you guys wrote down. If you have the paper, take a picture of it, post it on the Facebook group, and engage kind of just with people, let people see what it is and ask about it, and share your thoughts. Like what did you learn from this whole experience, and what can other people in our group share to help you learn? Maybe they've been through those same things and they've struggled with those same things. And if you have questions, don't be afraid to reach out and ask me questions. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope it was beneficial. And I really would like to go fishing, but I can't today, Bart. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. And I think that's about it. Do we have any questions? Anybody? Bueller? Did I miss anything? I think I got it all good. Yeah. If you guys haven't had a chance to, I believe I have my customer journey all recorded. So if you guys want to check that out, kind of see the same process for your customer journey, reach out to me and let me know, and we'll take a look at that. So other than that, take care, guys. It was fun hanging out with you, and I will see you next week, same place, same time.